everybody. I'm Kay Marie.
I'm Mary.
And we are
Murked in the Midwest.
So, y'all, what did y'all think about last week's episode?
Ooh, Orville not Redenbacher. I don't know. I still... It's all of the audacities. Because
People died?
What?
There were casualties over it.
No. Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm.
When I was there? People died.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
Lots of them.
He was awful. Awful. To be in that position and where people are coming because obviously something's going on, they feel sick, and you to take advantage of that to try and meet whatever your little sick agenda is, it's just insane.
It was the talk shows for me that just threw me. I'm like, really?
It was just, he gave me sociopath vibes for that because he was just like, okay, I killed all these people. I'm going on these talk shows. Telling everybody that has sympathy for me.
Right. Ain't nobody got any sympathy for you. We don't believe you.
Right.
We don't believe you at all. You just lying to lie.
God dang, Lynn.
Ooh.
But we're going to go ahead and jump into this week's episode. And we are going to be focused on Valparaiso, Indiana.
Where actual Orville Redenbacher is from.
Hey, Orville, the right Orville this time.
And Lou, can you explain to them where Valparaiso is?
Sure. Okay, so we are talking about Northwest Indiana. Valparaiso is one of our most easterly towns or cities, if you call it as a city. You will be able to access and get to Valpo if you are on Route 30 or Indiana 49, both of which will take you and intersect right into Valpo. Valparaiso is known for lots of things besides Orville Redenbacher. We have a very wonderful university that is there, Valparaiso University, which has amazing programs in engineering, construction, agriculture, and they have a very good nursing program, so lots of things. Shout out to VU. And the town is really cute. I think we've talked about it before in previous episodes. So if
a couple episodes.
Yeah, a couple episodes. If you're wondering about it, just
we
revert
talked
back to
about
those.
it when we talked about Crystal Helmkin. At the White Hand Pantry.
Yep. So you can refer back to that. But as far as it's like location and what you would be around, it's about an hour and 15 minutes from Chicago. To get to the Michigan border, you're talking about maybe 45 minutes. So it's a very centrally located kind of city. And, pretty decent sized population. It's small, but not too small.
And that was Lou, you all. That she's our map.
Yeah.
Because I am geographically retarded.
I'm the map. She's the map. I'm the map. I'm the motherfucking map. Got your in my back. But squirrel. Yes. But today we are going to be talking about Melinda Kirby Lindsay and Stephen Lindsay. And this case was actually sent to us by one of our followers.
Shout out to you.
Shout out.
Hey.
Thank you. And we, like we say every episode, we love for you guys to send us cases because we don't know everything. We know that some cases get looked over, which is our whole point of doing this podcast, focusing specifically in the Midwest to cover the victims that, don't get the attention as much as like the murderer or the serial killer. So,
or the big cases that happen in big cities.
Yes, exactly.
That are more prominent.
Yes. So we have Melinda Kirby Lindsay. She was 23. She lived in Valparaiso, Indiana. She formerly was from Rossville. She actually did die. She died Friday, January 16th, 2015 in Gary, Indiana. She was born on May 31st, 1991 in Indianapolis, Indiana. And she was the daughter of Robert and Julie Kirby. So a little background there was not much background on Stephen, but I'll go ahead and give you their background as a couple. So in early 2012, Stephen Lindsay met his future wife, Melinda, And within a couple of months, she became unexpectedly pregnant.
Okay, so they was getting it in.
Doing it well.
And so at the time they met, Melinda, she was actually an exotic dancer. But after becoming pregnant, she quit her job and then she didn't return to work again. She became a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Sign me up.
And part of that was Steven didn't like her associating with her friends or former customers from her time as a dancer.
Understandably so, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, you're a mom now. He doesn't want you doing that. Like,
But
he met you there.
I was gonna say, but you met her there.
He met her there, but he was like, girl, we ain't gonna stay there.
I'm in love with a stripper. Yes. But as their time together, so he didn't want her talking to her former friends or customers from her time as a dancer. And also with the new marriage and everything, she had less and less contact with her family as well, after her relationship with him began.
Sometimes that's concerning.
It is, sometimes. Yeah.
Because that can be signs of control or isolation. But
we'll see. So Steven was working as an electrical lineman.
Oh, so he was making money.
Yes.
So lineman, let me just tell you, we're talking about electricians.
Yes.
Like, ooh. Honey, okay. So most electricians, I'm sorry to my friends that are electricians. I'm going to do it. A lot of times they be nerdy, but the linemen be, they be rough tumble and like, ooh. They be, hello. They do crazy stuff, like they fly out of helicopters to get to like the high voltage wires. They like a whole different breed. They literally are up in those baskets that you see on the side of the road, and they have the big huge gloves, and they have the clip that goes because it grounds them. Yeah, linemen are different. Shout out to the linemen.
So yes, that's what he was doing when they met. But he was fired from his job in early 2014 for drinking on the job, of all the things.
Well, that's a common trade issue. Yeah. Having substance abuse problems because they make a lot of money and they want to fuck it off.
Yeah. So from that point, he kind of like jumped around through jobs until November of 2014. Of course, he was earning way less than he did in the prior years. Ouch. As Lou said, the money that he was making as an electrical lineman, the jobs that he found after that definitely weren't up to that standard. In October of 2014, his behavior became very impulsive. He opened a new credit card and purchased a cruise, but never made a payment on the credit card.
Okay. He said, we going, but I ain't paying.
Yeah. He also cashed out over $16,000 from his retirement account and spent all of that within weeks.
Okay, was he having some form of psychological problem? This is giving a little bipolar or...
Do not know.
It's giving psychosis.
It's giving something. It's giving that seems like a break. Because it seems very different from his previous behavior.
I don't know.
Okay.
But in November of 2014, he was ordered to pay $6,200 in child support from kids from previous relationships. And during this time, he had stopped paying his rent and a bunch of other bills.
Oh, he said fuck the bills.
Yeah. And so from May of 2014 to January 2015, the bank accounts that were belonging to Steven and Melinda, more often than not, they were overdrawn. Or payments were returned for insufficient funds. And of course, as we said at this time, she's a stay-at-home. He actually didn't want her to go back to work. He wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom.
Because he was still living in that mentality of, I'm the breadwinner, but really he wasn't running the bread at this point.
Exactly. And so
he was struggling with that.
They had been married for 2.5 years. And her father actually had something to say about it. He said that he felt that Steven tried to mind control Melinda. Saying that she would want to come visit her family. When she would want to come visit her family, he would take their daughter and leave for a couple of days.
Oh, so he really was controlling her.
Yes. And so...
Now, where would he leave to with her baby? Wait a minute.
I don't know. He would just leave with their kid to make her not go visit her parents.
You need to run my kid back now.
I don't play, but
Bring my child back now. I don't give a shit what you do. You don't want me to go see my family? Bring my kid.
Yeah, no. So as I said, Melinda Lindsay, she was a stay-at-home mom. She did. Her dad did say like a week before she actually died, she had got a job as a waitress.
Okay.
But he wasn't exactly sure where, because like, you know, she really didn't have a lot of conversation with them. She didn't tell them a lot about her relationship with her husband. Like, she didn't say whether it was in trouble or anything like that. She didn't mention that to either one of them. He says that she didn't want to fail, and so that included her marriage.
Okay.
And so at one point, Stephen moved in with his brother, and this was about 5 or 6 weeks before Melinda actually died. She had threatened to leave him because he wasn't working.
Well, hello.
Like, when we met,
you was making
money and you told me to stop working.
Right.
You wouldn't let me work. Now you're not bringing no money in. All this stuff we getting, with the rent ain't paid, we getting return checks. All this stuff.
They're probably about to get dang on kicked right on out the place.
Exactly. So she threatened him with divorce. Stephen told police that they had actually talked about divorce when he left to go stay with his brother. And he told them that they also used to fight a lot about money.
Yeah.
So,
don't they say that that's one of like the highest reasons for people, or most common reasons for people to get divorced is money?
Money.
Finances.
The financial stress. So, on just a brief summary of what happened, and I'll go into the details of what actually happened with the murder. But on the day that Melinda Lindsay died, Porter County Sheriff's deputies got a call at about 6:19 a.m. about shots fired inside the residence she shared with Stephen Lindsay. She was transported to Methodist Hospital's North Lake campus. So here in Maryville, really not, or no,
in Gary.
South North. This is South Lake. So
because-
North Lake is over there on Grant.
Yeah, North Lake is considered the trauma center. They deal with.
Awful.
No, they're not. This is. A lot of times people believe because it is scary that it is bad. Now there are things that they don't do well there.
That's not why I believe it's
But
bad.
when it comes to the hospital and dealing with gunshot wounds, they are one of the best in the area. Like, it literally is comparable to taking them to Chicago when it comes to gunshot wounds. Now, I'm not saying everything at that hospital runs well, but what I can tell you they can do well is they can handle some gunshot wounds.
I wonder if it's from experience.
It is. It is.
So, she was transported there where she did die, and they ruled her death a homicide. And so,
that's a far way to travel for getting care.
Yeah,
That is.
So Valpo to Gary, you're talking at least, and this is in good conditions. What time of year was this?
this was January.
Oh, so she had horrible conditions for travel. Ice on the road, snow. On a regular good condition day, if you're moving pretty quick and traffic isn't bothering you, you can get from Valpo to Gary in a matter of 35-40 minutes. But you put ice, snow, poor conditions, people ain't moving, that could be an hour drive.
So in the days before the shooting, they Melinda and Stephen had actually contacted the sheriff's department because they thought someone was stalking their home. And so just to let you guys know, people describe Melinda, they say she came across as happy, lighthearted, in love. And so she also was on several pain medications for postpartum health issues. But she also was very happy being a stay-at-home mom.
Like, she enjoyed her life.
Exactly. So, more details in the murder. On the day of the shooting, police found Melinda Lindsay in bed with a gunshot wound to her head. Stephen Lindsay was in their young daughter's bedroom, kneeling on the floor with his hands secured behind his back with a zip tie. Ella May, who was 2 at the time, she was in her crib unharmed. Police also found zip ties in the bedroom by Melinda. Stephen told police he fell asleep on the couch about 2 a.m. and woke up to a strange hold or a rear choke, and that someone was behind and lifted him off the couch before everything went black. He told police that 2 fingers on his right hand were numb, but that he didn't have any neck pain. He told them that he remembered was a gunshot, and that he woke up in his daughter's room with his hands tied behind his back. He said that even though his hands were tied, he was able to get them to his side and call 911 on the cell phone. So he was the one that called 911. He told dispatchers that someone was in his house and he heard a gunshot and that someone had his wife Melinda. He also called his brother right after that phone call and then called 911 again. So there was a gun found in the master bedroom on the floor. It was like partially under the bed, and it actually was registered to Melinda.
Okay.
So they did like some preliminary tests, and so they did actually find gunshot residue on him, even though he told them he hadn't shot any weapons recently. Mm-hmm. And so, as mentioned, they did constantly fight about financial problems. Melinda wanted him to return to work. She also discussed like returning to work as a dancer so she could earn some extra money, but of course he was like, nah, you ain't doing that. Mm-hmm. Melinda asked her parents if she could move back in with them. This is
before the divorce was final? She was asking to move back home?
No, just her and her kid.
Oh, okay.
Her daughter to move back in with them in Illinois. On January 1st, they had a big fight, and Melinda told him that she was leaving him. She went to a friend's house and stated that Stephen had taken their daughter to his brother's house and would not let Melinda have their daughter.
I'm about tired of him taking her baby.
Like that.
You can play with a lot of things. Don't play with that. Don't play with me.
That's
enough. That's enough.
So, January 8th, 2015, Lindsay called the police to report that he and Melinda had returned home and discovered that the screen to their bedroom door had been cut and the window was open. No one had actually gained entry to the house, and that they did have 3 dogs. They had a large Malamute that belonged to Stephen before marriage, and an aggressive and protective pit bull mix, and a small Chihuahua that had both belonged to Melinda before the marriage. All of the dogs were inside the house. So when the police arrived at the scene, the bedroom window was closed. Stephen told police that he believed someone opened the window to lure the dogs out so that they could enter the house. On January 15th, a detective called to follow up on the January 8th incident. And while Melinda was on the phone with the police, Stephen told her that he had just discovered suspicious footprints around their house. They came to the house that day to investigate it, but they saw that the prints didn't seem fresh. They didn't appear fresh. And so later that same day, Melinda called the police again to report that she had noticed several items were missing from her car. So they thought all of these incidents, like Stephen and Melinda thought all these incidents were related. They thought that it might have been like several of her ex-boyfriends or former customers. And so they really thought that she was being stalked. And so they were saying that it might be one of them, that, as you know, those were their possible suspects at the time. The next morning on January 16th, shortly before 6:30 a.m., Melinda was shot in the head while in bed. The bullet entered above and behind her left ear, traveled through her skull, and exited above and right in front of her right ear.
Above and behind her left.
And came out right above the right ear.
Above, so it went straight across.
Or above and in front. So it kind of like did like a diagonal.
Like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
And there was stippling around the entry wound, which indicated that she was shot at a close range. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There were no signs of a struggle or sexual assault, and a blanket was pulled up over her body with her arms resting down at her side, which kind of seems like a sign of remorse. There was no sign of struggle or...
So you were familiar with whoever did this to you because you didn't put up a fight.
Mm-hmm. And then the cover was pulled up above her to her body with her arms resting at her side.
Okay, I'm gonna hold my opinion because y'all know I got a lot of them.
So as we
there's a lot of things so far. I just want to say that there's a lot of things that aren't adding up for me.
Oh, it continues that way.
Yeah.
Melinda, as we said, later died of her wounds at the hospital. It was determined that she had been shot with a single bullet from her own gun, which was left on the floor of the bedroom with no other bullets in it.
So he's trying to make it look like it was a suicide, almost. It could be dressed up.
Well, he kept, but no, he was trying to make it seem like somebody came in because he was tied up in the daughter's room.
But why would there only be one bullet? The bullet that came out of the gun and killed her in the gun.
Right.
Who loads?
And if somebody was breaking into the house,
who loads?
Why would they have their own gun?
No, maybe they didn't. Maybe they, because a lot of times people do get shot with their own weapons. I can accept that. But why would they load up one bullet and there's 2 people in this house? If they're coming to do something, why would they load one bullet? You riddle me that.
I ain't got it. I ain't got the answer. So, Stephen, as we said, called 911 about 6:20 a.m. He screamed incoherently for about 2 minutes before before hanging up. After receiving the call, the dispatcher searched the system for records associated with the phone number and sent the police directly to the couple's address.
He couldn't even say where he was. My wife has been shot. He just screamed for 2 minutes. And then hung up.
Yep. Then the dispatcher attempted to call him back. They tried to reach him through text, call, but of course did not get an answer. And
because he busy stations. As
we said, after he called 911, he called his brother. After speaking to his brother for about a minute, he called 911 back approximately 6 minutes after the first call and reported saying, "My wife's been shot," or "They shot my wife."
You a lying sack of shit.
Police arrived to the home while he was still on the phone with 911 this second time.
He could talk to his brother, but all he could do was scream on the first 911 call. Yeah. And then
this man was screaming on the track.
2 minutes later, all right, that's enough. Hang up. Hey, yo, bro.
Help me figure out how I can make this shit look right.
All right, I gotta call 911 back. My wife's been shot.
I can talk now.
Oh, the police said never mind. So, police entered the house through the unlocked front door. They could still smell burnt gunpowder in the air, which suggested that it had only been 15 to 20 minutes since the gun had been fired.
I could smell it.
Right. Melinda was still in her bed and she was still alive.
Oh my God.
When they got there. So she laid in this bed for 10-15 minutes after being shot. The dogs were in the garage. Although Stephen claimed that they were in the house when he went to sleep and never kept in the garage. But the dogs were in the garage.
You know why they were in the garage? So they wouldn't beat his ass.
That pit bull was going to tear him up for messing with Melinda.
And that Chihuahua too. I would tell you. You don't fuck around with people's own, with pets owners. No. So they'll fight to the damn death.
To the end. Is it what you said?
What you think you about to do, sir?
Like Coco and Chloe. Try and mess with Kay. Watch what happens.
You go.
They going for them ankles.
They going for the ankles.
No, they literally. Sure. Have you ever seen a small dog? So Dolce one time defended me when there was a person who was. She lunged herself off of the couch at their neck. They don't mess around. They ain't going for your ankles. You fuck with their owner, they coming for you.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he put him in the garage.
Yeah, because he didn't want to die.
So, when the police got there, they found Stephen Lindsay in his daughter's bedroom. He told the officers that he could not open the door, and when the officer entered, Stephen was on his knees in front of his daughter's crib with his hands restrained behind his back with 2 large white zip ties. The officer found zip ties of the same kind in the bedroom where Melinda was found. But during their investigation, it was learned that the brand of zip ties
I cannot.
Was exclusively sold in bulk through electrical supply distributors and were accessible to Stephen where he had worked as an electrical line.
Okay.
Damn. Stephen told police.
Stephen.
He's still out there.
Stephen. What the fuck, Stephen?
Stephen told police that he had fallen asleep around 2 a.m. Woke up when somebody began choking him. We already went through this. He maintained that he blacked out almost immediately and couldn't remember anything until he woke up in his daughter's bedroom. He woke up to the sound of the gunshot.
That's what woke him up.
He claimed that he had already been zip tied when he woke up. But he did not remember anything about how he had gotten to his daughter's room.
He stayed kneeling the whole time too.
Yes, he told them about the possible suspect, in regards to Melinda's ex-boyfriends, past, customers, stuff like that. The police investigated them and eliminated them all because they all had verified alibis. There were no signs of forced entry to the home. The least he could have did was kick the door in. The front door was unlocked when the police arrived, even though Steven says that it was locked when he went to bed. And Melinda was known to always lock the doors. All other doors to the house were closed, secured. No footprints were found outside leading to any other point of entry. Shortly after Melinda died, Steven had her body cremated.
Of course he did.
Which of course was against her family's wishes. Mm-hmm. And he did not hold a memorial service or publish an obituary.
Stop. You know what, Steven? Fuck you. From Luke. Fuck you.
So, as far as evidence, officers, they saw no evidence that anyone had approached the home from the woods. There were no shoe prints by the windows, no sign of struggle in the child's bedroom. Neighbors also did not report any disturbances. Court documents showed that Steven had actually tried to file a claim to collect on Melinda's life insurance policy, which was
Of course he did.
Which was $1 million.
Wait a minute. Why does she need a $1 million policy?
I'll tell you, with an additional $100,000 in the event of an accidental death. At the time, he was 36, and he was 12 years older than Melinda. When Melinda and him called the insurance rep, this is just part of their conversation. When they were talking about the age and stuff, she was like, but he looks so young. That's what she told the insurance rep on their phone with Steven listening in the background. And they were talking about the different details. And so she would say stuff like, let me make sure it's okay with Steven first. And this was about basic information. As basic as, hun, how do you spell Valparaiso?
Oh my God.
Wait a minute, what?
Is that what Steven said? These are the things Melinda would ask the rep. And then she'd go, okay, let me ask him. It was very much so this naive, depending ignorance on her husband. And they actually played this phone call during the court.
Trial.
Yeah, during the trial.
Oh.
So her parents having to listen to that.
That's heartbreaking.
Her father said that Steven being arrested was the only measure of comfort they had found. Mm-hmm. And that he was looking forward to the trial, plans on attending court hearings. He said he hopes Steven gets the death penalty.
I agree with
He said, this is exactly what he said, quote, that's all I want. He said, the Bible says an eye for an eye, and I believe in it.
You better say it.
So, we get into the details of the trial. So, the trial was slow. There were witnesses that were speaking against Steven, that were speaking for Steven. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they played that phone call. There were 2 mistrials. For whatever the reason may be. And it got to the point where the prosecutors, they painted the portrait that Melinda wanted to return to her job as an exotic dancer against her husband's wish. This, in addition to the high-priced life insurance policy, the couple's money problems, all added up to his motive for killing her. Mm-hmm. Steven, who was working as a first responder for Commonwealth Edison Utilities, he maintained throughout the entire trial that an intruder shot and killed his wife after attacking him and binding him in his daughter's bedroom.
What I want to know is how he know they shot him, because he blacked out, remember?
When he came to, he found his wife shot in the head. How you find the shot in the head?
If you was in the room tied up.
Yeah. So a little bit more information on this insurance policy because you asked. So 1 week after being accused of the homicide, Steven tried to file a claim for the insurance policy.
Well, you couldn't even wait. You couldn't make an obituary, y'all.
Mm-mm.
You have to.
He cremated her, and they couldn't even have a celebration of life ceremony. But in 1 week, I can tell you what he could do. He can make some phone calls.
Yep. And so Greg Mirabelli, who was a MetLife claims investigator, he actually came to testify. And when asked if Stephen's claim was rejected because of his wife's murder or suspicion cause of death, Mirabelli told him no. He said no. He said it was two factors that led to the claim's rejection. It was misinformation that was given to them during the application process. And also they had missed a payment. They had, yeah.
Oh, because wait a minute, we gotta roll back that beautiful bean footage. Mm-hmm. Stephen decided that he was gonna fuck off all the bills and not pay shit because he wanted to book cruises and pay one time, and he also thought that he could have credit cards and not pay those bills, and that he didn't have to pay his fucking rent, and he didn't have to pay any other kind of shit, including his life insurance policy.
Yeah, so the life insurance policy was still active even though they had missed the payment. Mm-hmm. But because they had missed the payment, there's a clause where within the first 2 years of the policy, MetLife is allowed to re-examine the application and claim.
Okay.
So that's where it came, where the claim ended up being denied because they had missed this payment. It caused them to be able to go back and review everything, and so they were able to double check, this information as far as in the application process, and then more details started coming out with the case, and so yeah.
Yep, ain't paying it.
And so, as we said, one of the payments was returned for insufficient funds. That was the December 2014 premium. And so they had actually got...
Oh, so 1 month before.
Yeah. They had got the claim in January of 2014. And Stephen was the sole beneficiary.
Of course he was.
On January 7th.
Screw the kid.
Right.
Kid. Just me. I'm the one that needs the money.
So on January 7th, MetLife had sent a letter to Stephen and Melinda stating that their premium had not been paid, and that if they did not pay by January 26th, the policy would be canceled. Mm-hmm. So he had to kill her before the 26th.
Shut the fuck up.
Just some other awful things that Stephen did. Within several weeks of Melinda's death, he took numerous rings, including her engagement ring, other jewelry, to pawn shop, jewelry store to try and sell, but the store did not purchase any of the items. He made several calls to MetLife to initiate the claim or to check on the status of the claim. He took both of her dogs to a veterinarian clinic and had them euthanized.
Oh, hell no.
No, I'm done with him. Please tell me he got the electric chair. That's all I...
Euthanized for what?
And that was one of the things they said. They said, you're not acting like a widower. You're trying to get up all evidence that she ever existed.
Sir, you're doing a fire sale. That's what you're doing right now. Dogs, get them out of here because they hate me because I killed their owner and they know it. I'm done. I'm done with this. Did he get the freaking... I needed him to get the death penalty. Please tell me they fried his ass like some bacon.
Did not get the death penalty.
What in the hell? What a piece of shit. If anybody deserves it, he does.
He got 55 years.
Ain't long enough.
Nope, I don't think so either.
Ain't long enough at all.
And of course, he appealed. As soon as they came out with the verdict, he said, "Of course, I'm gonna appeal this."
Ooh,
and some of the things that he stated his reason for the appeal, of course, he wanted certain evidence ruled out. He wanted them to not, he felt like them including the fact that he had euthanized her dogs was unfair, or
it shows who you are.
It was unduly prejudicial. That's what he said.
No, what's unduly prejudicial is your actions. Mm-hmm. You euthanized her dogs. No, they didn't have no health problems. Wasn't nothing wrong with them. You just want to be bothered. You couldn't even take them to the damn pound. You couldn't let somebody else adopt them. You had to put them down.
You killed her and then killed her dogs.
Come on now.
The other thing that he wanted to have thrown out. So during the investigation of the crime scene, a number of spots of blood were located on the wall near the headboard of the bed where Melinda was shot. DNA tests later revealed that the blood actually belonged to Steven.
Oh, he wanted that ruled out.
Yeah. He felt that,
Wait a minute, hold on. I think I know what he's going to say. Did he have a nosebleed in his sleep and that's why it was blood on the wall? Oh, why he had blood stuff?
he said he objected and contended that the stains were irrelevant.
Irrelevant?
It's blood.
He said the blood could have been placed on the wall at the time of the murder because he had no visible injuries on his body at that time.
It could have been placed there. So now he's trying to say that somebody framed him. Is that what he's trying to say? Is somebody's framing? Is that what he has the gall to say right now? Someone framed him? This motherfucker. Ooh, Melinda, how did you meet this piece of shit? Baby.
He was just, and she was the sweetest. If you pull up a picture, she's young, cute girl, and just like I said, the way everybody described her, she was the sweetest. That like I said, they would throw out this word naive and stuff like that. It's just that she had a very like clean outlook on the world, and unfortunately, she got mixed up with the asshole named Steven.
You just never know a person.
I mean, so I did bite my tongue during the beginning of the story a lot because I didn't want to just keep interrupting it. But there were things that were giving me some signs of he's a little bit of a psychopath. He seemed very controlling.
Like you said, with the money issue, opening a credit card to pay for a cruise they're not paying anything to the credit card, taking $16,000 out of your retirement savings and spending it within weeks.
And not only that, now that was giving me psychological problems, but I'm talking about where she isn't seeing her family.
Yeah.
Those are women, if you are listening, this is not Dr. Lou telling you, just so you know, if you're dating a guy and you're thinking you have found you the one, that he is all about you and that he just loves you and can't get enough of you, and that's why you can't see your friends and why you can't see your family because you guys spend every moment together, that is not love, that is control. That is not him caring about you. It is manipulation. Those are signs to fucking run.
And do not look back.
Don't you ever put that in your head that he just loves me so much that this is the way that things should be.
As soon as a man is holding your child over your head.
Nah, baby. We gotta go.
I'm so happy that especially not a lot of people, but nowadays people are starting to, they not necessarily run at the first sight of a red flag, but I too am one of those people. The minute you give me a red flag vibe, that's something I ain't gonna come back from. Oh, I'm not talking to you.
And there are things that sometimes can be confused with red flags. Like there are moments when you can give the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, absolutely.
It would be different if she had told him that her family were abusive to her or they were toxic to her, and so
that's different.
And he came, and he said, I support you and I want to make sure you're having your healthiest life. I notice your family does this. Maybe you should maybe you should take a step back, take a little break. But if he's not letting you see them, and when you go to see them, he threatens you with your child. Well, if you're going, I'm taking your child away, and me and her, we're going to go over here, and I'm not going to tell you where she is, and I'm not going to let you see her.
That's when you get your 9 that you got, and you tell him if he want to wake up tomorrow, he don't never take your child out your motherfucking hands. Talking about they going anywhere. Yes, threaten the fuck out of him. And if he don't believe me, tell I can show you better than I can tell you. Okay. Ooh, wait.
Yeah.
It's the freaking the zip ties for me. Sir, you think that people don't understand that you can tie your own hands behind your back?
And they were large zip ties.
Yeah.
They were industrial size zip ties. So they're not the small ones where they were the big ones, and he used 2 of them.
So you could easily put it over
adjust
here,
them,
pull it up.
And then left some in the room with Melinda.
Dumb as hell.
Because if she wasn't tied up, why would there be zip ties in there?
Idiot.
If they tied you up in this room and then went and shot her.
You can't say it's suicide, because that's probably also what he was going to try to say too, if they didn't believe it. But you literally shot her this way. Who shoots themselves like this?
So,
Well, you know what? He probably wouldn't have said suicide because he wouldn't have got that life insurance.
Nope.
So he had to come up with
It had to be murder. And it had to be somebody else. It sucks
It really
that
does
he was
suck.
the sole beneficiary on it. And that now her daughter is without both parents.
I think she's better off not having Steven as a parent.
No, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like that life insurance policy.
Yeah. I'm sure that the grandparents definitely took
Of
her.
course.
Which, thank you, grandparents, for not leaving him with a... Because that sack of shit is going to get out of jail one day. I hope he freaking gets... Ooh. The things I hope they do to you in jail, Steven. I have a list of things. I hope some of it includes rape.
But that is the story of Melinda Lindsay. No, Melinda Kirby. Kirby was her maiden name.
I don't even know what to say. That was a whole mind fuck. Cause why you gonna just leave that girl alone? Like you just like
Right, she said she was just gonna go back to her parents. Like, why does that bother you? You ain't even gonna do right. Why is that bother? Why is that the thing that bothered you?
It was very much so that if I can't have you, nobody can.
Or do you really think it's what you said with the money?
Yeah.
That it was by that date he knew
Yeah.
his time was running out.
He knew his time was running out. He didn't have the money to pay the bills. And so he was like, she trying to leave me anyway. Fine, she'll leave me this way. I kill
Can you
her and
imagine?
get the money. $1 million life insurance policy though.
And for why did they cover her for $100 or for $1 million with $100? Didn't it say it
With
had
her-
$100,000 extra?
Yes, with her being unemployed and him jumping between jobs.
She not generally they base your life insurance off of your income, like what you stand to make.
Mm-hmm.
When was she ever gonna make $1 million?
But yes, that is the story of Melinda. We're gonna wrap it up. You can go and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
All of that.
YouTube. Like and subscribe,
like and
comment,
subscribe,
let us
please.
know what you think. As always, you can email us at merkthemidwest@gmail.com if you have a suggestion for a case. If you want to be a guest on one of our shows,
Just hit you back in.
please reach out.
Yes. Reach out.
Our business love appreciation for this episode, we're kind of doing them sporadic,
Yes, we are.
but we're gonna shout out Kadiance Nails on Instagram.
Ooh.
So it's KDIANCE Nails, and we'll put the link for her page in the comments and everything.
to get your nails done.
Yes, to get your nails done.
Done.
I personally go to her. She's amazing. I love her because she's a young black woman. I want to say she's probably, I think she's like 24 or so.
Okay.
Get money.
Yes,
Yes.
she's out here doing her thing. And so y'all gonna see my next set. My next set gonna be JJK themed.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. But yes, so that is our business love shout out for this episode. And bye.
Bye.